Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wolves podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cooper, and today all four of us are back. Finn is delighted to say that he's joined us for once.
That's not what you said before.
No. Been off gallivanting. I'll come straight to you. Finn, how have you been, mate? How's your Christmas?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Been here, there and everywhere. I think during the recording of the last one, I was watching The Menu in the cinema. So I've been here, there and everywhere. Very good film, by the way, if anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, all good, thank you. How have you lot all been?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Not too bad. It's been steady. Glad the football's back, but still a lot to improve on. Dave, how have you been, mate?
Yeah, well, good, thank you. Yeah, keeping well. Just enjoying my time off work until obviously I'm back in a few days. But yeah, looking after myself.
Any more improvements on the house or?
No, Jackal, mate. Jackal. Provisional date of 2026 is still full go ahead.
You'd have paid your mortgage off by the time it's time to move in. 25-year lease term. Jord, mate, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. All good, thank you.
Wonderful stuff. We've got a lot to talk about this week. We're having a look back at the United game. We'll be previewing the Villa game, giving a little bit of a nod to the Liverpool game on Saturday too. This segment wasn't going to be in until the last 5 minutes, but we're going to talk about the breaking news of Mateus Nunes' supposed already confirmed transfer to Liverpool, which is absolutely balmy. And of course, we'll take some of your questions. But Dave, let's start with the United game on Saturday. What were your thoughts coming into it? Do you think is it a potentially winnable tie, something you get a point from, or were you expecting Wolves to roll over and have the belly stickled?
No, I knew we'd be more competitive. I think ever since we've been back in the Premier League, we've given United a good game, haven't we? We've beaten them a number of times. We've given them a really close and good game twice last season as well. So I knew it was good. A little bit worried because they'd come off the back of a really impressive win against Forest. So I knew they'd be decent and up for it. But I suppose when the team news came out and Rashford was on the bench, I thought, hold on, we might have a chance here because he's been fantastic for them recently. Obviously, no Ronaldo as well. So I think without Rashford, they were lacking that little bit of firepower. But yeah, I was quietly, I didn't think we were going to go and smash United, but I was quietly confident we could go and get something out of the game.
Yeah, I thought that, Finn. I thought that, mate, like coming into the game, I said to my brother, I went, I feel like we might have an upset here. I feel like we could maybe nick it. But how did you feel coming into it?
Yeah, looking at the teams, I think we both looked weak. Like that wasn't my favourite starting 11 for Wolves, but also with them, Martial I had in my fantasy team. I watched the game against us, and he's straight out. My God, looked horrendous. He gave me a goal the other week, so thanks for the 6 points. But it's time to go now, and he looked poor. I think Rashford really changed things when he came on because Garnacho didn't do much. So, yeah, I was feeling positive looking at that team before. It sort of played out as well. But again, I think we've said all season we don't look like we've got someone that can score a goal, but we're not even getting someone to get in the position to even attempt to score a goal. So it is worrying on that front. But, yeah, I think we more than matched them everywhere else on the pitch.
Yeah, Jord, it was a big boost to see Rashford out of the starting 11 there, but he was always there on the bench. How did you see the game, mate? It's that cutting edge again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fine margins. I thought we played quite well in the game. I know people have been moaning about certain aspects of the team and periods of the play, but I thought we did quite well in that first half, especially. I thought we matched them in a lot of areas, and yeah, they've got one of the, if not the informed player in world football coming off the bench after he missed his alarm clock, and he made a big difference, didn't he? Like he was the difference in the end, and that's the thing, is that we haven't got anyone on the pitch or to come off the bench who'd come on and change the game like Rashford did, and he changed the game. There's no two ways about it. That's what good players do.
Well, Finn was about to sit out half the podcast next week because he was 10 minutes late to our recording. I think he did set his alarm clock properly. So if Finn drops in for halfway through the next podcast or someone subbing for him, then you know why. First half, Dave, we rode our luck a little bit, didn't we? But we still had a couple of chances. But that Semedo booking, I'm not sure that's a booking. And I know a lot of people have said like the referee was shocking, which I don't think he had a good game, but it's not really an excuse. But they're the sort of decisions that, Casemiro did exactly the same and didn't get a booking, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think I try not to blame the referees as much now on whether it be the podcasts or the reviews, because I was getting people, complain in the comments saying why are we using the referee as an excuse? It's not always the referee's fault, but at the same time with situations like that, it's just a consistency. You're right. I think some referees would have given the Semedo one as a booking. Okay, fair enough. But then you've got to do the exact same thing when Casemiro or whoever does it the 2 or 3 times after as well. So I think he was a lot stricter on Wolves in regards to situations like that. But I don't know, it just lacked consistency. The referee, he was giving very soft fouls for some things, and then there was 1 or 2 second half for Wolves when we're breaking through that he let play run on. I thought Kilman had a run forward and he was fouled, and I think Nunes had 1 or 2 instances where he should have been given a free kick as well. So I think it was just a lack of consistency really from the referee. And I know you said sort of the Semedo situation as well. I'm sure we'll come on to the back pass as well, because I thought Semedo had an okay game apart from that, but I think pretty much 90% of the stadium would have put their house on Garnacho to put that past Jose Sarr. But since Christmas, obviously Sarr's been fantastic.
Yeah, maybe the article that came out of the Express and Star maybe isn't true, and it's been used as a vehicle as a rocket up Jose Sarr's arse to try and inspire a bit of form into him. But yeah, that's Semedo back pass thing. It's, and I said on the fans react, Semedo for me looked a lot better, barring that lapse in concentration. But it seems to happen every single game. He's a seasoned professional now. What is he, 29? Like, he's got so many appearances under his belt. It's just not acceptable, is it?
No, yeah, he's looking a little bit more at home in the Lopetegui system as these games go on, but has been shocking. I think I appreciate his performance more once Johnny came on. Because it was sort of like you're used to having like Semedo on the halfway line. Johnny was about 40 yards behind when they're trying to make that pass. So I appreciate it more, but it was a bang average game from him, but that's improvement. So I didn't mind it at all. But yeah, the back pass, he's always had something like that in him. Again, I didn't think it was a yellow card, so I think he did well in that early, the situation with the early booking. I think he's done okay there, but he's always got something like that, 10 times a season. But Sarr, yeah, as you say, unbelievable save. So lucky with that one. And what minute was that? Was it like 30th, the back pass, 40th?
Roughly, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah.
Mid to middle.
Yeah, so I'd rather have conceded then, to be fair, more chance to get one back. But I mean, yeah, we can't control
Did anyone think that first half lasted about 4 days?
I said the same. It's like 20 minutes ago. I said this is the longest first half.
I looked up at the clock and I went to Robert and went, I think the scoreboard's fucked. He went, well, I think it's just 20 minutes of it. I couldn't believe it. And then it got to
going really slow.
28 minutes. I'm like, I am so like, what is going on here? Like, too many pork pies over Christmas. I think it's put him into a comatose state. But I thought that we did match them. They had the lion's share of the chances, but then Jord, on comes the impact sub in Rashford, and like you said, he's one of the most informed players in the league at the minute, and it changed the game somewhat. But I feel like the introduction of Johnny maybe changed it a little bit more so than just Rashford Khan, because I thought Semedo dealt with him quite well.
Yeah, I think it's really sad to see Johnny the way he is. Like, he's had 2 ACLs, and I was talking about this in the pub before the game, a few of my mates, and the thing is, at elite sport, fine margins make a big difference. And when you have 2 ACLs, either knee, like even if you're not half a yard slower, like it's just such a big difference at that top level. And I feel sorry for Johnny. He was one of our most consistent players, one of the best signings we've had in the Foden era, pound for pound, I would say, arguably. Yeah. And now he's, I used to fancy him no matter who we come against, years gone by. You'd be like, you just fancy him. You fancy him to do a job against someone.
I beg your pardon.
I mean, keep all these elite players and elite wingers quiet. And then the first game of this season, I remember Fulham own, like Cabano gave him the absolute run around. I thought,
he skinned him.
I was like, I've never seen Johnny like that before. And you know what? It was a sign of things to come, because he's been woeful. And I feel sorry for him. I really do.
Yeah, because like one-on-one, he used to be outrageous. Like, no one would ever get past him. And I remember, Dave, you were there when we were at the Emirates last season, and they brought him on after like a massive layout.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! I felt, honestly, if it was a racehorse, I probably would have put him down there. And then it was like he was running in concrete, and you feel for him, because like it's obviously through no fault of trying. And again, that was the same on I want to say Saturday. Was it Saturday? I can't even remember. 31st, yeah, Saturday.
Yeah.
It's a real shame because, like you said, Jordy's been, in large parts absolutely immense for Wolves. But unfortunately, Dave, those fine margin, like Jord said, have cost us. It's another goal that we've conceded coming down the right hand side, and I mean, when you think about it, I know they'll zip the ball around quite quickly, but it's just a simple give and go.
Yeah, but I think we should have been. It was 2 or 3 people you could again point the finger at. I think Johnny and Collins have probably got to do better dealing with it. I think Totti as well. Someone had pointed out, but I think I've watched the goal back once, so I can't quite remember exactly how it happened. But it did seem a little bit too easy for Rashford to burst into the area. And I think as soon as he gets the right side of Johnny, he's going to put it past Jose Sarr as well. When you're bringing Johnny on, like Jord has said, he's going to, somebody that's, I don't know if he's struggling physically, but obviously not as quick as he used to be, not as quality as he used to be against Rashford, who's, on the top of the world right now, coming on at 45th minute, fresh legs. I think there's always going to be one winner there. So, yeah, I was disappointed to concede that. But, at Molineux, it always seems to be down that North Bank side as well. I always seem to see a goal come in down that right-hand side.
It's exactly where I sit as well. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Always happens. But it's a shame about Johnny. But I think, if it's a sellable asset this January, I think it's him, unfortunately. I don't think he offers enough, if anything, going forward anymore. No. Defensively, physically, he's not the player that we once had 2 or 3 years ago. So I don't know what value you would put on him, but I don't see him being a long-term part of this Wolves project anymore.
It raises a question as well: who wants him? Because who's going to want to sign a player on good money who's ruptured 2 cruciate ligaments in different knees, who hasn't been in great form ever since coming back? Really, I know he had a bit of a purple patch in last season. But who's going to want to buy him? Maybe he goes back to Spain because when he played at Celta Vigo, I think he played on the right of a back 3, where it's a little bit less exposed. But I think that's probably the only viable option, really. I don't think. How old is he now? Is he? I don't think he's. Is he edging towards 30? He's 28. Yeah. So he's still
28, mate. Yeah, that's younger than I thought he'd be, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he does look about 44. Yeah. But it's a shame. But Wolves did have a chance right at the death, Finn. Your mate, Raul Jimenez. Do you think he should have done better with that? I'd already left the ground board and I'd seen enough. I know that comes across as fickle and plastic. But
was it the one off the corner? I can't remember.
Yeah, the corner. Yeah, it's probably the best chance we had, really. I know Costa had one in the first half, but he was, in the ground, it looked like a better chance than it did on the telly, I must admit. But yeah, the Jimenez header.
Yeah, from my view, to be fair, I could see it from far away. So maybe it was better than I, because I haven't watched the highlights back. So maybe it's better than I appreciated him. I mean, it was the first time he was actually in the box for one, which is an improvement. I felt every time Adama was getting wide, he was almost trying to support him like a fullback. I was like, mate, get in the box. So at least he's gone up for a header and he's actually getting in there. But maybe I haven't appreciated if that was a bit of a sitter. Were you in the South Bank, Dave? Did it look worse?
Yeah, no, it was a good chance. I think, perfect, good delivery, perfect header by Raul, bar, it went straight at De Gea. I think either side of De Gea, and that's, it was good power. It's unlucky, but I think even with when Adama came on as well, I think Adama was brilliant coming on the pitch, but the one thing was missing, that he had absolutely nobody to aim the passes or the crosses at. Now, I probably would have brought Adama on for someone like Hwang or Podence and kept Costa on for a little bit, just so you had the right, somebody there to aim at. I know, George, you put a message in our chat as well about Costa saying, I don't know what pub it was. Was it Dog and Duck or
the Dog and Duck, yeah.
Yeah, he would get a game for the Dog and Duck. But I think, his overall play, ignoring the finishing, which is obviously the most important bit, but his overall play, his hold-up play, positioning is all right. But whenever he gets that half a chance, he just scuffs it. Palace was a good one. You remember right at the start of the Palace game, created himself a brilliant chance and fluffed it. United, he got himself in a good position, but it was almost as if he just, didn't even get any power behind the shot. But I would have been interested to see if he came on just for 10 minutes, or stayed on for 10 minutes with Adama looking quite sharp, what it would have been like, or even bringing Jimenez on a tad earlier, because I think Jimenez came on a bit too late.
Do you know what it reminds me of? I don't know if it applies to you or whether you're as unfit as I am. You know, when you play like 7-a-side and like you have a long busting run and like you go past 1 and go past 2 and you're through on goal, but you might have to check inside. You're that knackered. And you're like, just swing a leg at it.
Fall over the ball,
Yeah. He's like, I've literally got nothing left to give, and I'm just going to swing a leg at it. That's what it's like. It always seems a tired finish. But you'd think, though, wouldn't you, that it'd be the opposite, where his hold-up play may not be as good, but like his finishing would still be there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Dog and Duck's a little bit disrespectful, Jord. I think he's shown more than that. I think he's played better than Jimenez whenever he started, but I don't know if anyone's seen. There was a few rumours on Twitter doing the rounds, and I didn't see it because I wasn't in the ground. That as soon as full time whistle was blown, Jimenez was having to do with the coaching staff. I don't know how true that is.
I saw that as well. I don't know how true it is either, if I'm honest. No.
It's really hard to. Well, it's just an assumption, isn't it? It might be they might not be even having it to do. They might be just be trying to discuss the game, but it's if you look at things and it can be as seen as something else, but. One player who I thought had a better game, and it was poor for the goal though, Jordan. I'll come to you because he's your boy. Was Nathan Collins. I thought he was much improved on previous displays. Still not there, but looked a bit sturdier.
Loads better, and I feel
he got loads better. Of course, yeah, best defensive performance I've ever seen at Molineux.
After Gary Breen, the best Irish defender ever. No, I thought he played really well, and even for the goal, I know people are saying he's culpable partly culpable for the goal, but Johnny's lost the ball and Johnny's got skinned, and Rashford's running it in the box to him. Like he can't really make a challenge at that point, in my opinion, but. Enough of that. First half, like I say, really good. Probably his best 45 minutes in a Wolves shirt. And second half, I thought he played well. And, the thing for me is we all give it. People give stick. People put opinions out on social media, but people aren't quick enough to say, actually, you know what? He played well today. Like, people have been saying how shit he is. I've barely seen anyone go, you know what? Fantastic today, or played well today. And that's the thing that annoys me. Like, I had a few choice words about Hwang earlier in the season, which we can't really repeat, and I think they were bleeped. But I could open my hand up. Yeah, they definitely were bleeped. But I can say I think he's been good since he's come back from the World Cup. I even thought he played quite well against United first half. I don't think he's a centre forward. And I think he minimised and limited him when he did move centrally. But that's my only thing is people can criticise, and that's fine. But if you're going to criticise someone when they have a good game, I think you've got to be quick enough to praise them as well. That's my only thing.
Dave, do you think we got what we deserved from the game, or do you think we deserved the point?
I think obviously overall probably United just about edged it, but I think a lot of people came out thinking we deserved the point because for our standards it was a lot better. The overall performance was a lot better. I think we controlled the game fairly well. We restricted United fairly well. But yeah, we just didn't test De Gea enough. Bar that, Costa's scuffed effort and Jimenez's header at the end of the game. I can't remember when else and Neves' free kick. To be fair, I can't remember when we clearly tested De Gea. So that's got to change. That's something Lopetegui's really got to work on.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree, but it's a much more of an improvement for what we've seen, but it's still, for me, feels like a million miles away. But hopefully you can sort that out. Just a quick shout out to those who played the Betmate pot. So Hot Shot and Pot won £114.30, placing first, and then 3 others came joint second, winning £48 each. So not too bad. Now then, chaps, Wednesday night under the lights at Villa Park, Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Aston Villa, or the other way around, depending on how you look at it. Dave, is this a derby for you?
It's a Midlands derby, there's no denying that. I don't see it as, I don't hate many teams, to be fair. I don't even, I've got good friends that are Albion fans and so on, but out of the Premier League, this is the team that I probably want to beat the most because they are a local team. But I don't know. Villa fans are adamant, this isn't a derby, but I know for a fact as soon as the fixture list comes out, this is the first fixture they look for. So I'm not bothered. I think anyone in and around Birmingham, Warsaw, Wolverhampton, it should be classed as a derby. So
Jord,
I think it's become
you've got...
more apparent over the last few years when we've been sort of neck and neck with them, really.
Yeah, I said this earlier. It's we've been almost vying for the same spots over the last 6 or 7 years, so that's probably why. Jord, I know you probably got some thoughts on it, haven't you?
I'm the same, really. I didn't have a problem with them until the last sort of 7, 8 years, and then they've tried to make this rivalry as we've been going up and we're in the same leagues and stuff. And
yeah,
they are insufferable, though, aren't they? Or like the fucking 1982 song, and every time you go to Villa Park, they sing about, I can't remember what the song is, but university, European champions and all this sort of shit. And it's like half the people in the stadium are never born. You know what I mean? Half of them have never even been on a Ryanair flight.
Yeah, but if we've won a European Cup, are you saying that you wouldn't sing about it?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying it pisses me off that they sing it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, no. But to be honest with you, yes, I want to beat them, and it's more so this social media rivalry that's been going on for the last sort of 7, 8 years. Like, I've never really minded Villa growing up. Albion, like Dave said, I've got a lot of good mates who are Albion fans, so
yeah,
I don't like them, but I dread playing them. It's Blues who I hate because I've got no affinity to them. The scruffy bastards, and the ground's a shithole. There you go. Like, Blues I hate, but I don't necessarily hate Villa. I just hate all this obnoxious. Oh, we're a big club. No, you're not. You're shit.
Then I think it's more of a case of we're not rivals if we lose, but if we win, then we're rivals.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it started more with that when they battered us. What was it? We're coming for you, Nuno. All of that.
So that's 6 points. That's 6 weeks up time, then, Mr. Nuno.
That's the one.
I think the mind the gap from our fan base probably didn't help matters either, to be fair. So.
No.
And
after that, with the whole our report. They reported it was about Mendes and then signed one of his keepers, and they tried to get involved. It was all that.
Steve Bruce as well, saying let's see, they do want a cold winter's night in October. And then I don't think we lost the game. How's the bacon? Did you see? But for me, it's definitely a rival. I live in Birmingham anyway, but it's nowhere near the hatred I've got for West Bromwich Albion. But Dave, coming into this game, they're off the back of a fantastic win at Spurs. How do you see this one going? Would you take a point now?
Probably take a point, but I think ideally we need all three. Especially, the Christmas fixtures went our way, like the results, but the New Year ones definitely didn't. So we could do with a win. I watched their game against Spurs, and I don't think Spurs haven't been great.
Spurs
recently,
are crap,
but yeah. But Villa just took their chances, really. I saw a few fans, Arsenal fans in particular, sort of almost laughing at Emery in terms of tactically what he did. I think they were 1-0 up, or is it still 0-0, and they made a defensive change. And Arsenal fans were saying that's what he did all the time at Arsenal, and it used to cost him a lot. Obviously, it didn't this time round, but it'll be interesting to see tactically what he does throughout the game against Lopetegui, who, his tactical change worked for us against Everton. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but I think they've got injury issues. I think, John McGinn's a doubt because he pulled up against Spurs. Douglas Luiz took a whack against Spurs as well. So it'll be really interesting, but we've got a great record at Villa Park. I think we've lost 1 out of 6, I think, there. So, we've got a really decent record there.
Yeah, and I think Emery's a fantastic manager, I think, and obviously both our managers are Spanish. I think they brought Sessegnon on, didn't they, Spurs, and then I think he brought Matty Cash on.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at some news now from Ashley Priest, who's the Birmingham Live correspondent. It says John McGinn worried after sustaining hamstring injury, but hopefully he's out because he's a big player for them, but. Finn, how do you approach this game if you're Julian Lopetegui?
You know what? I didn't watch a second of the Villa Spurs game, so I don't even know what they look like. I saw a lot of the Liverpool game with Watkins missing a handful of chances, so wouldn't be too worried about him. And let's enjoy that when that's clipped up when he bags a few on Wednesday. But not too worried about him. I think more of the same. I'd just make changes with our front three probably. I think Cunha comes straight in for me. There was a ball in the Man United game where Neves played a beautiful ball through to what would be a mobile striker. It a bit, yeah. No, it was the one through to Costa, and he had to turn. Whereas, like, I thought if Cunha was there, we're in on goal for once. So I think a more mobile striker we've been crying out for, and probably Adama. So I'd just make changes up front. I don't know what I'd personalise to them. Almost, I'm probably not in the best position to do that. But yeah, just change to the front three, and I'm thinking we can get at least a point.
Do you think that space was there to run in behind there because it was Costa? That's
probably.
And that's probably why they've got a higher line, because I know that Lopetegui said that's why he brought Adama on because of the spacing behind. And I couldn't see from the North Bank, but I don't know whether United sat back a little bit more or squares up. I don't know. I couldn't see. But what about you, Jord? What are you expecting from this game? Do you think we can go there and win?
I think we can go there and win because I don't think there's and again, maybe this is very fickle. I don't think there's a lot between the teams, like genuinely. I know they're in better form than us, and we've been crap for half a season. We all know that, but I do feel under Lopetegui, it's like a fresh slate for us. And I think Cunha potentially coming in is a big thing. I think he might come in off the bench, so rather than starting the game, I feel like against Villa with Mings, with Konza, they're quite physical. I think he'll go with Costa again, which I'm not against because. I think him and Mings will probably end up having a fight about 30 minutes into the game, and we'll shout Diego, 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 and he'll be doing his job for the evening.
But
I think it's a winnable game. I really do. I'd like to see Adama start myself. I'd like to see Hwang given another go as well, because I think that with Costa being static, you almost need two runners to go infield, and I feel like Hwang gives you more legs and Podence, and Adama does as well. And that's what I'd like to see just from the start, really. And it'd be interesting to see what he does with Moutinho. He's played 2 games in, 4 days? It might be a game for Booby to come in and give it a go as well.
What do you reckon, Dave? Because I was going to suggest it be a game for Boubacar Traore, but it doesn't seem that... I don't know. Does he fancy him? Because I'd have bought him on at the weekend.
Yeah, it's strange that he didn't even get 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, wasn't really getting warm either.
No, I thought Moutinho, for what it's worth, had a really decent game against United. I thought, I was just watching him every now and then. I thought his work rate off the ball was, for someone of his age, is phenomenal, and it's really interesting to see the sort of role Lopetegui's got him in at the moment, because it's almost like a number 10, and he's pressing as high as Costa is at times. Like, you look at the average positions, he's pretty much level. Costa's just slightly ahead of him. So it would be really interested to see, long term, what that role becomes if we bring in anybody to sort of play that role this year, this month. Maybe someone like Isco playing slightly further forward, or someone that ilk, or even Boubacar play there, because I think during the little friendlies we had before the season kicked back off, that's where he played Traore. Again, I think I mentioned it on the last pod. I'd love to see Boubacar, Neves, and Nunes. Nunes was better against Manchester United as well. I think that midfield three would be, in terms of how well balanced, I think that would be our best midfield three. I think Cunha's got to come straight into the front three, but I do agree with George's points in regards to, I think we still need a proper focal point. Whether Cunha is that man, I don't know, but maybe Adama, Cunha, and Diego as the front three to start.
I think you'll play him as a number 9. Really do.
Yeah. Well, I'm not against, anything. I think you've got to put him in. I think you've got to put a fresh face in there.
I agree. So we're all in agreement that Cunha starts. I don't think he will, but
I think he will.
Yeah, I don't know whether he will, but I'd like him to. I don't know. Yeah.
They could also
do that. Well. They could also do that thing in that first friendly in the winter break where they sort of played Costa slightly on the left, Guedes in the hole, and then it was almost like Adama and Costa as a 2 if they played Cunha in that Costa role. I don't know. Just do a goal.
We'll see. I mean, the lineup against Everton absolutely stunk, and we won the game. So, we as football fans, though, we think the game's lost at the announcement of the lineups, don't we? We always see Fume, but shows how much we know. Right then, lads. Moving on to the Betmate pot. So this Wednesday, it's a double header. So it's Villa Wolves and Palace Spurs, and it's £3 in to win a share of £450. Also, if you sign up using our link in the description down below using code TW10, if you're a new customer, you'll receive £10 rather than £5 in free bets once you've played your first paid pot. So, Dave, I'm going to come to you, mate. Can you talk us through your teams and why you've selected a couple of individuals?
Yeah, I've gone with a mix mainly of Spurs and Wolves, but I've got a bit of Villa in there as well. So I've got Hugo Lloris in goal. I think although Spurs haven't been great recently, I still back them to get a clean sheet against Palace. With Perisic, who I thought played, he's down as a defender on Betmate, but we played a lot further forward for Spurs as well. So I think the chance of him getting that assist or goal is a lot better. We've gone with Nathan Collins at the back for Wolves. I think, he had a good performance against United. So I've put him in there. Douglas Luiz in the midfield alongside Neves. Like I said, I thought Luiz was fantastic against Spurs. So if he's fit, I think, just in terms of interceptions and tackles, I think he's going to be up there. And then my front two. Now, I've gone with Diego Costa, but only because, what's his name? Mateus Cunha isn't on the game yet. So I would go with Cunha in there ahead of Costa with Harry Kane next to him. So, yeah, I think Kane just speaks for itself. Probably an average of a goal every other game, hasn't he, really, in the league? So I'll go with Harry Kane.
If those out there are wanting to select Cunha, he will be on the game by Wednesday. And the beauty of Betmate is you can change your team up until 5 minutes before kick-off as well. So, of course, once the lineups are announced and you see that half your team isn't playing like I did at the United game, you can change it. Jord, talk me through yours, mate.
Yeah, I've gone heavy on Spurs, even though they're absolutely terrible. And I feel like insanity is taken in with Nunes and Neves combo again. But so run through my team is Hugo Lloris in goal, Perisic and Matt Doherty as the defenders. Got Nunes as captain, Neves as vice captain. I feel like they complement each other very well. And on this game, I think Nunes is back. He's got to score for us soon, hasn't he? I just feel like there's something going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to have a magic moment out of him. I've gone Adama Traore and I've gone Son as well from Spurs. I've avoided Kane simply because I want to be a bit different. And I feel that Son has been really, really quiet for Spurs and South Korea actually in the World Cup as well. And you just feel like he's about to take off. Something's going to happen with him. Something's going to happen with Spurs. So I feel like doubling down on the Spurs and Wolves picks is the way to go for this week.
Definitely.
I think if you put your two teams together, you basically got mine now. I've got Lloris, Perisic, and I've got Semedo, Douglas Luiz, Nunes captain, Adama Traore, which may change to Cunha, and Harry Kane. So a real mix there. And obviously what you guys said about Douglas Luiz, I didn't know that either, so we might have to come out as well.
Yeah. Definitely want to keep our eye on. I think there's loads with these fixtures. There's going to be players, especially like if you're in pots with Man City and stuff like that. There's going to be so many players. The pep tax, chopping and changing. It's all bad enough with FPL at the minute. So,
George, did you have a win on Betmate this week?
Yeah, I won yesterday. I won £191.50, I think.
Oh, you smash it, man.
Yeah, so on the Forest Chelsea game, I had Raheem Sterling, the greatest winger England's ever seen, as captain. And I told you he was going to get all these goal contributions before the start of the season, and that's another one for the talent. So no, Raheem Sterling captain. No one else picked him, and that's the difference with Betmate. If you pick someone slightly left field and they come up with the goods, you end up quite high on the leaderboard. So yeah, happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, you out of us four are the ones who get the biggest winners. You've always seemed to get a winner each week, and we had a lot of joy in the World Cup. But hopefully, this team that I'm about to read out is fighting in the top echelons of the leaderboard. I highly doubt it. So I've gone with Jose Sarr in goal because he's in inspired form. I've gone with Matty Cash and Mark Gahey at the back. Now I've gone with Douglas Luiz in the middle as captain. I know he might, as you say, might not be fit.
Yeah, he's a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that can change once the lineup comes out, but I think he's done really well for Villa this season. He's a bit of a all action, can score, can tackle, thinking of those interceptions and maybe assists. I've then gone with Neves alongside because I feel like there's a goal coming, whether it's from the spot or whether it's from outside the box. I just feel like he might get on the score sheet. Then up top, I've gone with Will Zaha and Ollie Watkins, vice captain. I just think that Watkins' pace against our back two, him stretching and running in behind, I think it might cause us a world of problems if he starts. But this is subject to change as well because
You've already Spurs there then?
No Spurs.
Interesting.
No Spurs players.
Wow.
Wow. Wait till you see this. Yeah, I just think that they're on a holding to nothing at the minute.
I think he'll go soon, Conte.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what he did at Chelsea, and he's almost like talking himself in the media out of a job. He's just like, you can tell he wants the sack. So
he had that little spell. You remember they lost the game, and then he was like
Burnley, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, he said he was going to walk. I know he knows what he's doing now. I don't think he'll walk. I think he's just using it as almost like a vehicle to try and get a bit more transfer money, because I think they've got 30 million to spend, plus sales. So yeah, no Spurs players for me. I don't think they'll get anything at Palace. So remains to be seen. But just a reminder of that, it's £3 in to win a share of £450. It's a Wednesday doubleheader: Villa versus Wolves, Palace versus Spurs. And with this, of course, please gamble aware. Right then, lads, let's touch on the FA Cup fixture on Saturday night, 8 o'clock at Anfield. It's Liverpool versus Wolves. Dave, do you play the kids or do you go full strength? What do you do? There's 5,500 Wolves fans going up there, so big away allocation. Do you think that maybe influences Lopetegui's starting 11?
Maybe, no. But I think he'll go full strength for everything anyway. I don't think we've got enough quality to go with like a second string team anyway. I think our squad is small enough. Yes, he can rotate, but when you rotate, you're still bringing the likes of Aït-Nouri, who he could arguably start for Wolves, Adama Traoré, who could arguably start for Wolves, Guedes, when he wants to turn up, could arguably start for Wolves. So I think even if he rotates it for Wolves, it's still a strong team. Whereas for Liverpool, obviously they've got a lot of players that they could bring in, and I think we can be better than. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but like historically, round 3, round 4, Klopp's never gone with a strong team, and we played Liverpool before and had a second string side. So I think it's definitely a winnable game. And I don't think there's any excuse for us to go weaker, to be honest. I think we should go through.
Didn't we beat him in the third round a couple of years ago, or fourth round?
Yeah, that was at Molineux. Yeah, we never scored. Mignolet,
Well, we'll know what team Liverpool will be putting out in the week up to, because we're only at the end of it off Klopp.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll boom. So I'm sure we'll hear about that. But what about you, Finn? Are you making a journey up on deciding to stay at home? Are you going?
Yeah, I'm there.
Close to your missus, isn't it? It's close to your missus' family. It's close to your missus' family, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, they're on the Wirral. So, but even though we're not using that, we're just getting on Can at Wolves again. For a minute. So, seeing the family over Christmas, we tick that off.
That's enough, yeah.
But no, yeah, we're going. We had the option of 8, didn't we? And only took the 5.5. So, we managed to get 4 tickets. So I'll be there. I've got happy memories of the FA Cup in that away end.
I'm not sure where the 8 allocation goes though, because
above, isn't it? It's the top tier as well.
But I don't think the top tier's there anymore.
It is
because they're having it redeveloped, aren't they? Or are they building over the top of it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know then.
Yeah,
that was the 8 before, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Annie Road stand. But yeah, I'm not too sure, because I saw a couple of people moaning about that on Twitter. George, do you think they would have sold out that 8,000?
It's one of those things, isn't it? I like to think with Wolves fans, we travel in numbers, don't we? So you like to think yes, but then you chuck the train strike in just after Christmas, 8 o'clock kick-off.
Yeah,
maybe not. Maybe that's why the club had just took the 5.5 to see how that goes. And we
went to general sale anyway, didn't it? Even at the 5.
Did it? I didn't know.
It went to general sale. Yeah.
Oh, right, there you go then. So, and we've obviously got the Forest game on the Wednesday as well, which a lot of people will be going up to as well. So people will be picking and choosing at the moment with January. So I think that's probably what's going on with that.
Yeah, I agree. That Forest game for me is a bigger fixture than this one. I know a lot of this will give fans who don't necessarily get to many away games for the loyalty points a chance to go and follow the boys. So, I mean, hopefully they'll be in loud voices behind that goal, and you might have. Was it the FA Cup we beat them in as well at Anfield, or was it the Carabao Cup? It was the FA Cup, wasn't it? Dearman, Cord and Vyman. Yeah. So stranger things have happened. But do you give us much of a chance, Dave? Even if Liverpool make those changes, which they probably will. I know they're currently getting beat at the minute. So
yeah, I'll give it a chance. I think in the cups, Klopp, like you said, he'll moan about it. I think he'll tinker a little bit with the team, and I'll give it a chance as long as we play a pretty strong team. But I think in terms of importance, I would, or if we had to rank the games, I would rank the Forest game as more important than this one. Only because one, I think if Forest play a strong team, it will give us a good chance to sort of see where we are roughly at the minute. Because if we can beat them, I think that just gives us that little bit of a confidence boost. But also, you're into the last four of do we call it a major competition? Into the last four of the League Cup. So anything's possible then.
Yeah, just having a look at the Anfield Road stadium stand expansion, and they have still got the upper tier, but they're building over the top of it. So strange that they didn't have the extra 8,000, but like you said, with Jord, with the train strikes and stuff, that's maybe why. Yeah, but Dave, that with the Forest game though, I feel like there's going to be a bit of needle between the two, because obviously the graphic that Forest put out before the game last time, and obviously the graphic that Wolves put out and Neves put out, for me, that's, in terms of priorities, that's second on the list after the league. So I think that's going to be the bigger game, which we'll preview on next week's podcast. Chaps, moving on to the discussion point this week, and it's one that when I saw the news break, I'm not going to lie, I was pretty seething. I wasn't very happy at all. I've calmed down a little bit, trying to be a bit more measured, but a story has broke in the Telegraph this evening, which is the 2nd of December, 2nd of January, Jesus, that Mateus Nunes could be moving to Liverpool at the end of the season for a fee of around £44 million, which is around £6 million more than what Wolves paid. So it looks like Wolves would be turning a £6 million profit. Remains to be seen whether Uncle George is going to get paid out of that again, or Mendes getting paid twice. But Dave, what's your initial reaction to this? It's a bit odd, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what to think. I think you're right. It's odd. It's strange. Strange timing that it's come out now. I think. Yeah, it's obviously a deal that I think will be done in the summer. I'd be very surprised, very, very surprised if it happened in January. I think the fee is a little bit too low, but it's obviously something that was previously agreed. I think we all knew, and this is the thing that we've got to all accept. I think we've been extremely lucky with a number of players. I've said it before, like Neves, we're very, very lucky. I think when we signed him in the Championship, we accepted, right, let's get into the Premier League, and then we might squeeze a year out of him before we move him on. When Nunes signed in the summer, I think we all accepted the fact that he was going to be moved on pretty quickly. I think it's just come at this time now where we've sort of started to settle down. We've got a new manager. We've got, him sort of finally having glimpses of him playing good football, that it's frustrating us. I think the most frustrating thing is obviously the fee, though, because I think we can squeeze a little bit more, especially if he kicks on with his performances. We should be able to squeeze a bit more out of Liverpool. Yeah,
I think you said it earlier, Jord. It's almost we've taken a loan out until Liverpool have the money, and then they can pay us for it. For me, it absolutely reeks. If it happens again, this is just speculation at the minute. There's nothing. I know the Telegraph are really reputable, but until I'd like to hear what the likes of Liam Keane have to say about it. Whether the club completely shut it down, because I think if there is truth in it, they won't shut it down. But that's essentially what's happened, isn't it? We've done Liverpool another favour.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's I've always been pretty much what Dave said. Really, I feel with Mendes, you know what you're getting. It's sort of, if you shake hands with the devil, you're going to get burnt sometimes in these deals. And we've had Neves, we've got Matinho for £5 million. Like there's all these these pros to it, and then you're always going to get stung the other way, and that's Jota going to Liverpool on Klarna. Nunes coming to us, and then potentially all looking like it's going to happen there, and we've almost let him settle into English football, help the Liverpool so they didn't have the cash to basically get the player in England, give him 12 months, then move him on. And yeah, sometimes you're going to win with these, sometimes you're going to lose, and it does stink. I'm not happy with it. I feel like I'd rather have him for another 12 months. There's a great possibility that Neves will be leaving in the summer as well.
And
so
Matinho.
If you lose Neves, Nunes, Matinho off, retire, whatever he's going to do, you've lost a spine of the team. And I know I said it before the pod as well, whether you rate them or not, we've lost Cody, Bolly and Sace in one window to start this season, and Ruddy, and you're losing all these big characters from the team. And that's whether you rate them or you don't rate them. There are the characters in the dressing room, there's leaders there. You can't lose batches of players like this all in one go, because, we've seen what's happened by losing 3 or 4 of them. you end up in the relegation zone. And it's in the Premier League. If you stand still, you get swallowed up eventually. And we're not standing still. We're regressing, and we will. That's why we're in the fight we are now.
Finn, how do you feel about this? For me, it's we've got to understand as Wolves fans our position in the food chain. But what I don't like is we're only going to make £6 million profit. Another example of this is Enzo Fernandez signed for Benfica for about 20 million euros. They understand that he's only going to be there for 12 months. Now he's going for 120 million euros. Like, it's a process I'm happy with, but £6 million profit, which George is probably going to put straight into his back pocket, for me is unacceptable.
Yeah, like everyone said, you never feel when Wolves sign these sorts of players. I don't. How's it put, Dave, in Football Manager? It feels like all these players are allowed to treat club as a stepping stone. Like, that's in there, but when it's basically a glorified loan, Liverpool have paid us £6 million, as you say, to get a guy used to the Premier League, and they go, thanks very much. Those sorts of ones really stink, and as you say, it benefits everyone apart from us. Really, Mendes gets the commission twice, gets his cut twice. Works well for everyone but us. I mean, if he'd have powered us into Europe, you'd have gone, okay, maybe wish him well, and he's done a real good job for us there. But in this situation, it's and the time when it comes out when you're stuck down there, and it's almost like it's been pre-planned for this guy to almost use us a little bit. And as you say, maybe we are in that position where we will get used. We are in that position in the food chain, but it just, as you say, it feels a bit dirty. And we're for once we're on the receiving end. So I suppose we've been okay, but this one's not nice.
But for example, if this was Brighton and they signed a player for 38 million, he wouldn't be going for 44. No, he'd be going for 70, 80. But his performances haven't warranted that fee. So it's almost like this has been completely predetermined. What would have happened if Nunes had come in for 38 million, got 10 goals and 10 assists, and went for 44? That fee's already agreed. What happens then?
Yeah.
What happens then? I think it doesn't seem. I mean, it's still horrendous for me, but he's been pretty poor really for the money paid. I don't think he's been that bad, but for the money paid and the reputation he had coming in, he's been poor. It's sod's law that the past couple of games we played him in his actual position, he's probably been one of, if not our best player.
I was going to say, sorry, he's still got 0 goals, 0 assists for Sané. Am I right in thinking that? No goal contributions.
Might have one assist maybe, but I don't think he has.
Yeah. But I don't know. Look at the team. It's hard to get a goal contribution. But ask our centre forward. So I just don't get it at all. But
he's got one assist. One assist.
Maybe this explains more about the Lamina deal because both I've got similar attributes. I think Lamina's probably a little bit better defensively. Nunes a little bit offensively, but that same mould can go past players quite pacey. But maybe that explains why they're going back in for Lamina again. It just doesn't, it doesn't fill me with much hope. And I know we moaned about, I think we all moaned about before the World Cup break about the state of the club, and we look like we may have potentially turned a corner, but it's obviously not. It obviously still got the same lunatics running the asylum, Dave. With deals being sanctioned like this, it screams to me of a club who, again, don't really know what they're doing with stuff like this.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think if this comes to fruition, it's true, then I fully agree. But at the same time, I think, and I'm not saying just us, but everyone on Twitter can get overexcited about one piece of news sometimes. Like,
of course.
The fee, it could be a load of bollocks. That's just something they've said is likely. And Liverpool are only exploring it again. So, there's a chance that Liverpool say, no, you're right, actually, we're going to leave it, and nothing's happening. So I think that's what sometimes, obviously the Telegraph are an extremely reputable source, but that's why when people are going straight for Matt Hobbs and straight for Jeff Shee over one piece of news, I think it's a little bit unfair. But Lamine is an interesting one. I think it'd be extremely daft for Wolves to sell Nunes and get Lamina in as a replacement, because I think in terms of quality, they're nowhere near each other. Yeah. And obviously, Lamina's 4 or 5 years older than what Mateus is. So I don't know. I think we need numbers anyway. But I'm going to wait till the summer really to see what happens with this deal. But yeah, I think from reading this, it's frustrating at the minute.
When I first read the article, I didn't think there was a fee involved because then I saw you put the tweet out about 44 million. I thought, he's made a mistake there. I'm going to have a look because I thought it was that they signed him for 38 and it was rising to 44.
Rising to about 44
then I reread it and I was like, oh, Wolves are going to sell him for 44. Okay, he has got it right. That's how shocked I was. But if this is already set in stone and it's agreed, and Nunes has come out this week and already said, like, I need to give more to the club, and which is fantastic timing. Jord, what's his incentive to go and play out of his skin for the rest of the season if he's got to move to Liverpool already lined up?
No idea. And that's sort of where, I think with John Percy and he's so reputable. Like, there's no smoke without fire. There's something going on. There is something going on. I don't want to believe it. I want to discredit John Percy, but when John Percy says anything about Wolves, he's pretty much nail on the head. And Liam Keane will put something out, fairly quickly, and other people will put stuff out a couple of days later, So I do feel like he will be, I think there's probably truth in it. I don't know what incentive there is for Nunes. If it's all lined up, signed, sealed, delivered, or if certain caveats are hit, it's signed, sealed, delivered, then I don't know. But I can't see Liverpool, and again, Klopp's been moaning again today about how they haven't got any money and all this sort of stuff. Like, is it a sensible signing for Liverpool to spend 44 million quid on a midfielder, as good as we think he is, and as good as his reputation was before he came to us, with one goal contribution in the Premier League, whether that's for Wolves or not? He hasn't set the world alight. And I've said it, like I said again before the podcast, like Liverpool, the no-brainer for Liverpool is surely go out and get Jude Bellingham. He's a Liverpool fan. He's sort of flirting with the idea of joining Liverpool. Surely that's where you'd invest your money. I don't get why you'd spend the money on Nunes if you got Bellingham there. But
I think they could get Bellingham this window as well, because Dortmund have not sitting a while like this season. They've got a few money issues as well. Maybe the window that could go and get him. But they spent like £60 million on Naby Keita. This myth that Liverpool don't spend money is just a myth. Yeah, it's just a myth. But if I can all ask you whether you think Matheus Nunes will be a Wolves player at the end of the season, what do you reckon, Dave?
End of this season, I think he will be, yeah, I think.
Start of next season?
Yeah, I don't think he'll leave. Start of next season. Let's be positive. I'll say yes as well. As long as we're in the Premier League, which I'm sure we will be.
Finn, will Matheus be a Wolves player to start of next season if we stop up?
No smoke without fire. No.
George?
No, he's gone, isn't he? He's gone. And someone's going to need to book some laser tattoo removal treatment as well, I think.
The Twitter delete piece has already been on. So.
There was a certain Wolves fan, the name escapes him, but had a Matheus Nunes tattoo once he'd signed. So, oh boy. I mean, it might be still fresh enough to wipe it away, to be honest. So,
hopefully it was done in biro.
Oh, God. It's as soon as we start to get a bit more positive news, we all come crashing back down to earth, don't we? But moving on to the questions. So thanks to everyone who sent in their questions today on Twitter. We'll start with Andy Willis. He said, let's not blame the ref, but do you agree we must sign an experienced centre-back and right-back along with another striker? Used to love Johnny, but what's happened to him? Do you think it's his injuries or confidence? So, Dave, do you think a centre-back and a right-back is paramount in this window and another striker?
I think those three positions are the ones, aren't they? Yeah. If we can add a central midfielder as well, I think that'd be a great window. But centre half, right back, striker for sure. They're the three that Wolves need to be prioritising.
What do you reckon, lads? Do you think that's the positions?
100%.
Yeah, I agree with Dave on those. And well, blaming the ref as well. I think I'd love a midfielder like Casemiro, who's in that sort of Fernandinho mould of just kicking people and gets away with it. I mean, it doesn't really fit what we've got, and Neves is there, but just it reminded me of the ref. Like, he's got that Brazilian thing where you just kick him 10 times and never get booked. I think we need one of those. But I mean, yeah, it doesn't fit at the moment. But one day, that's the dream.
Casemiro looks about 4 stone overweight.
Yeah,
in person, and he's up.
Yeah.
I was going to say, don't move around the pitch that well, does he? He doesn't look like it. It's mad, but he just seems to be there, isn't he? He just seems to be in the right place.
It's class. Tom Martin has asked, has Hobbs shit the bed already, saying we'd have 2 or 3 in when the transfer window opened, raising expectations and not coming up with the goods? Let's not mention Enzo Fernandez. It started already,
So
hasn't it, Dave?
Add the key word to his sentence. He said, "We will try and get 2 or 3 more through the door. Not we will have 1 or 2 more. Sorry, not we will have 1 or 2 more. We will try." So I think if you give him a week's grace, then fair enough. But if it gets to this time next week and Cunha's still the only signing, then that's when I'd start to get a bit frustrated.
I think it's a naive comment of someone who's new to the job, because we've seen this
It's
with
a
Jet
it's a
Sheep.
daft thing to say. You
Yeah.
shouldn't put all your cards on the table like that.
There'll be a comms process at Wolves where that'll get approved. It's not just said it in like a live interview. That's a statement that's gone out on the Wolves website. So I think he's made a rod for his own back there a little bit, Jord.
Yeah, it's just a bit green, isn't it? Like I say, it's naive. Like you're coming new into a job, into a bit of turbulence where the club are at the moment in terms of bottom of the league at that time. A lot of like sort of disregard to the team, the ownership, new manager. I just think he's like a bit of a puppy trying to please everyone in terms of saying that comment, and he probably shouldn't have really. And I think just judge it at the end of January, really, like with all transfer windows. I know it's very cliche, but he said we'll get 4 or 5 in. That's what Lopetegui wants. If we do that, then everything's fine.
Yeah, I think we should judge it at the end of the window, but it's coming out and saying something like that. I know we're trying, but to even suggest that, I think fans will probably point the finger at him. I think I still got credit in the bank. I think more than Sellers did, but
has he? Yeah, I suppose if that was just in isolation and his little South American holiday hadn't been so well documented and it ended in nothing, I think it doesn't help. In isolation, we've heard it loads. I suppose it was more from Bruno, wasn't it? I need however many players, and we never ended up with them. So we are used to it as Wolves fans. But when it's the guy actually in charge, yeah, maybe a bit naive to go out and say that.
Ruby has asked, do you think that Cunha will adapt well, and how much impact do you think he will have for the rest of the season, Jord?
If he's going to have an impact or not, I don't want to sit on the fence, but you don't know. Like I say, some players take to the league like a duck to water, some take a bit of time, and that's the same with Guedes. I think Guedes is probably going to have a good second half of the season. So we couldn't yet. I'm not too sure if he will or not, but he's got, in terms of actually having an impact, it can't be any worse than what we've seen. So it's what he can't really lose, really. I think all that we want to see is a bit of endeavour, a bit of pace, a bit of flair, and someone just put the ball in the back of the net. If he does a few of them things, then we're laughing, really. So
more so the latter, please. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be grand. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
What do you reckon, chaps? Do you think he'll have much of an impact? I think he's gonna have a similar player to Jota. Not as good, but watching him play, he's very tenacious, strong on the ball. Hopefully, he can put the ball in the net. What do you reckon?
Hope so. Yeah, I think like George, we've had it a little bit too often where we've got these players that are coming in and almost it's taking them a little bit too long to get used to the league. It's obvious they're talented players. I think you can put players like Trincao in that department. Vitinha is an obvious one as well, where there's obviously quality there, but not sort of settled into England and English football enough. And that's maybe why Lopetegui's apparently looking for Premier League experience players this January. So I'm hoping that he'll do the business. I don't know if you boys have seen the behind the scenes video as well, but
it's class.
Speaks loads of different languages, and just little things like that. Hopefully he'll get him sort of make England feel like home a lot sooner.
He seems like someone, if you compare it to Guedes, you look at his arrival video. I know he doesn't speak English, but he seems quite shy, quite timid. Mm-hmm. Whereas Cunha just seems like he takes everything in his stride and will a bloke who hasn't been playing fantastic this season, but still he's oozing confidence around the place from what it's only a short snippet, but hopefully that's carried on onto his performances on the pitch. Adrian has asked, do we stick with Moutinho? I'm not sure whether he means in the starting 11 or at the end of the season, but I'll ask both. Dave, do you think Moutinho should be used as a lot until the end of the season, and what do you do at the end of the season with him?
I think he's still got the quality to play for us, no doubt. I mean, like I said earlier, I'd prefer probably to see the midfield three: Nunes, Neves, and Boubacar. But I thought Martinho was all right against United as well. But beyond this season, I don't know. I think it'll be really interesting. I think there'll be a massive transformation in our team, regardless of what division that we're in next year. Because I think Costa will probably go. I think you'd probably let Martinho go as well, if we're completely honest. But I think it'll be one of those situations where if Martinho comes out in like February, March saying, look, I'm going to retire, Wolves will be like, good. So we don't actually have to feel obliged to give him a contract almost, because I think there's enough quality there to give him a contract. But I think it's just one of those awkward situations where I don't really think they'll want to release him. So
probably got another year left of him at Roma.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Somewhere like that. So have you boys got any more thoughts on that?
No.
Yeah, I don't mind if he does do that, as you say, Matt. But he has looked a little bit better in that more advanced role. Really, I didn't think I'd want to see it, but now I've seen it. It's not too bad. But yeah, probably part ways at the end of the season.
Amar's Music Show has asked so far, what is your impressions of Lopetegui's strengths and weaknesses as a manager? I personally think it's too early to say. We've seen the strengths of his in-game management against Everton, where his subs changed the game, but then you've also seen it against United, where I know it was probably enforced with a Semedo booking, but changed the game because, Johnny came on. So I don't know about you, lads, but I think it's probably a little bit too early to say that.
Yeah, my only thing with it is that it obviously worked at Everton, and for me, it didn't feel like, although Man United was starting to have a bit more of the ball, it didn't feel like the right time to go to a 5 either. I feel like it just worked at Everton, so we did the same again. That would be my only thing. It didn't feel situational. It just felt like it was right. It worked there, so I'm going to do it again. So I'll probably do the same again at Villa, hoping for the same result. That would be my only thing so far. But like I say, it's far too early to tell. What I know and what I've seen of him, I like. So just stick with him and see what happens.
And Wolves Josh, the final question, has asked, which first team player would you have a scrap with and why? I'll go to you first, Dave, because I think you've probably got a good idea in your head.
Do I?
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I would take him, actually, saying that now. I saw that question earlier.
What do you mean by that?
We're not bringing this Sean Dyche thing back again. I was thinking earlier, I was like, I don't know, I think they'd all batter me, to be fair. But yeah, for blocking me on Twitter, it's probably going to be Daniel Podence. Yeah. I think I could do.
Yeah, do you think you could beat him?
Yeah. I think he's got something about him, but I think I do me. Yeah.
Finn, I'd like to see you fight Kalidasic.
Yeah,
that would be like the videos of those two giraffes like swinging the neck. Podence would be equally as funny. Was it? Did you see that Conor McGregor tweet about Hasbulla? Who was like, "Wonder how far I could kick him."
Yeah,
that'd be good. You could do that with Podence. Yeah, I want one of those two. Or take both. Yeah, little and large. I'll do them.
I'll back Finn against Kalidasic as well because
he's too nice. I wouldn't want to hit him.
He's injured as well, so he might have a chance.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, he can't run away. But just imagine that little hi, I'm Sasha. Nice to meet you. And you got to go
shut up, lad. Yeah. Jord, who would you want to take on and why?
I don't know. I think it'd have to be me and Nathan Collins in like a tag team.
A kiss
tables, ladders, chair. Table, ladders, chairs.
Bra and panties match.
Yeah. So,
wood wrestling.
I don't know. We might take on. I don't know. I might take on Jeff Shee and Matt Hobbs in a triple threat match.
Oh, wow.
Handicap match, I reckon.
Yeah. Matt Hobbs is quite a big fella, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a tank, man.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Bigger they are, the harder the fall.
What about you, Matt?
I'd probably say Fabio Silva.
Ooh. Battle of the shittest haircuts, or I can't talk.
Just because, we spoke to him before we went over to watch him play, and didn't give us his shirt. I mean, they had lost, and he made it very clear that he couldn't give his shirt away. But the fact that we went over there and even messaged us afterwards and still wouldn't send us one, so yeah, fucking sit on this, Fabio. Toss it. No. But nah, he's I completely understand. They got battered, didn't they? Who was it? Standard Liège they played?
Nah, Charleroi, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Charleroi, that was it. And the fans weren't happy, were they? Yeah. They weren't happy, and he had a stinker as well. But that's it for today's podcast. lads, I've enjoyed that. There's a lot to go through there. I'm glad we spoke about Nunes. I'm glad the news broke before the podcast rather than after. But just a reminder about the Betmate pot, £3 in to win a share of £450, and it's a Wednesday double header: Villa versus Wolves and Palace versus Spurs. Of course, with all that, please gamble aware. Dave, where can people find you? Should they wish to follow you, mate?
Very quickly, TalkSport have just come out. Breaking news: Wolves have no plans to sell Nunes in January. Which we knew anyway.
January.
Which we knew anyway. Dave has a party, Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, and LinkedIn if you want.
They may as well have come out and said Wolves have no plans to sell Mateus Nunes between Feb and March.
Yeah.
That's pretty much says the same thing. Yeah. Finn, where can people find you? Should they wish? I've also enjoyed the vlogs coming back as well, mate. Nice to get a 3 points.
Enjoyed the Everton one. The Everton one, when the goal went in, normally when it's 1-0, I'm like, right, sound, no video. And then there was that stat where we hadn't scored after like the 56th minute. So I really didn't think there'd be anything happening, but chuck one together. But yeah, Finners, FINERRZ, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I have no plans to upload whenever we lose, to quote TalkSport. So yeah, hopefully a few more videos for the rest of the season.
Hopefully. Jord, where can people find you? Should they wish to follow you, mate?
Jord7 on Twitter and Instagram.
You built quite a following on Twitter now, haven't you? You follow us.
Well, I did, but then I told you like a while ago that random I feel like a bit of a cyber attack where some guy from Indonesia tried to take my profile, so it shot up. So I think I've got a lot of bots there. But if people want to follow me, it'd be great. That'd be fine. So I've got fans, but I haven't got many fans. I think that's
Don't follow Dave. He's got enough followers. You don't need any more. We also can't change our appearance on Twitter because we'll lose our legacy blue tick. So if you change your profile picture or your header, you can't change our pictures. Yeah. So I'm just glad that my header is Dave as well. So
I wonder if we change
we don't fall out.
Change it and DM them, and then you get the tick, and it says like official Twitter account there.
No, it says that it has to go through a process of approval again, but they're just going to disapprove it, reject it. Thanks, probably a better term. Yeah, we're now legacy verified accounts. It may or may not be notable. We are definitely not notable. just putting it out there. But if you want to follow a legacy verified Twitter account, you can follow M Cooper Wright, which is me, and you can follow Talking Wolves across all socials: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and of course the most important one, LinkedIn. We've had a few new follows this week, so thank you very much. But yeah, if you have liked the video, let us know down below. If you're new here, subscribe, and until next time, take care.